Alrighty, thanks for joining me this afternoon. I posted this morning's video. I clicked it and it went live where the tariffs got struck down. We know they were going to get struck down. So I want to just show you, I thought I'd show you guys instant market reactions to this. Then I want participation, if you guys would. You're probably a loan officer, realtor, homeowner or something. let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'm going to go through all the information that actually got proposed today. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to show you the market reactions to this. And you might sit here and say, okay, this is great news. This is bad news. The markets aren't really doing anything. So let's get over to what's going on today, folks. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Here's what's going on with mortgage rates. So what happened today, there's not a lot here because I don't think a lot of people even realize this happened. And then what's going on behind the scenes. So here's what we've been watching for. Tariffs. Is the Supreme Court going to deem them legal or illegal? I've been saying for months they're going to be deemed illegal. They're not going to get passed. If I knew that, even Koshi came out, and I think there was a 25% chance they were going to pass these things. So it didn't pass. So do you think the Trump administration is just going to sit there and say, oh, okay, we're just going to refund all this money? We're talking like $170 billion. Now, you're going to see numbers all over the map. Now, I think they said in tariff money, they collected like $233 billion in tariffs, but 133 was the piece of the puzzle that Trump enacted. So let me go over, let me just explain to you guys what Trump did, what the Supreme Court now came out and said, and then I'm going to get in a little deep in the woods here because this is also a big piece of the big beautiful tax bill, because they're like, okay, we're going to give tax breaks to people. You and I we got them. Okay, you got them, I got them. I'm in a state where we're heavily taxed. It's Illinois, so I live in Chicago. Our real estate taxes are the second highest in the whole country. You guys are welcome to pay as much taxes as we are if you guys want to. But the SALT tax helped me out quite a bit. It gives me tax write-offs for that. So I got benefits. You got benefits. If you're on Social Security, you don't have to pay taxes on it. If you get overtime, things like that, you might not be a Trumper, so that's fine too. So now, but it's part of the big, beautiful tax bill. It is. You're going to get, they're saying probably the average person is going to get about an extra $1,000 per person. That's going to help push up prices, and I'm going to get to that in a second because I want you guys' thoughts on, do you really think companies are now going to, give us that money back or start cutting prices? We'll get to that in a second. So basically, here's what Trump did. He came in and he enacted this thing over here, and I'm going to try to post it in a blog. You might care about this or you might not, but he enacted this thing called IEPA. And it was basically this thing where you can tariff if there's a national security and things like that. So he's like, well, shit, I'm going to do as much as I can. So I'm going to tariff the heck out of people. At least I'm going to threaten them, saying, you know what? I'm going to 100% tariffs on you guys if you don't negotiate. It worked. It worked. Let me know. If you don't think it didn't work, the stock market's at all-time high. We got gas prices down. They're starting to go up. But again, I'm not – let's go on both sides of this equation. Did he overstep his bounds? Yeah, he overstepped his bounds. So now what we got from the courts is basically this thing saying, okay, now you can't do what you're doing. So he has – a lot of people on his staff that really know the bond markets and how to manipulate the markets. Let's face it, guys. Most of these guys are billionaires on his staff. They know how the markets work. That's why they're in the situation they're in. So they go down through here and they're like, okay, we can do some other things. So I can guarantee you there's going to be a backup plan for this. What it is, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Here, I'll get to some chats here in a second. And I don't want to get political. I'm just presenting you guys all the information we got so far today. But here's what he could do. He could come in and enact this Trade Act of 1974. He could put tariffs of 15% up to 150 days. I don't know how many times he can consecutively do that, but it's something he can do. He can also enact this other Trade Act or this other thing up here. There's a whole bunch of things he can do. He can even just say, what this said is, it says, okay, the president doesn't have the ability to do this, but Congress does. Well, they control the House and the Senate, so they could just pass this through the Congress, right? Most likely. So there's going to be a whole bunch of things. But the repercussions is this. If you have, the big, beautiful tax bill, let's take, for example, that. Corporations got big tax breaks. And you might think, okay, corporations, they don't need tax breaks. But here's what they got. When you buy equipment, let's say you buy a buddy of mine sells these cutting equipment. They could be millions of dollars. So the companies buying them, they can depreciate those over time. What Trump said is, why don't we start front loading a lot of these things so manufacturers can start getting back into the game and renew their equipment and everything. So I'm going to allow you to do 100% appreciation on those in a short term. So companies are like, okay, I can buy equipment now that I need, and I can write it all off. So basically, I'm getting a net wash because, so they take the money that they've earned in revenues, and then they take that as a cost of that equipment. Okay, so it's a paper thing there, but that's how companies do it, and that's the tax laws. You might agree with them, you might not agree with them. That's why I vote how you vote. But we break that down. So corporations got some tax breaks, yes. I don't know them all. I'm not a tax accountant, but we got them too. Like I said, I'm going to pay less taxes this year because I get the SALT tax, and then other things that I get, and I'm sure you're going to get that as well. So we have that tax break for us. But we needed the tariff money to come in to say, okay, this is how we're going to pay for things. So I can assure you that he's going to come up with a plan. So now let's get over and say, if you don't believe me, let's see how the markets are reacting to this. So that's why I started with this, the bond market. The bond market is -2.02. That's flat as a pancake. So if this was detrimental to inflation, being terrible, the bond market would react. If this was fantastic, saying, okay, this is going to drive down inflation, now all these costs are going to come down, you might be thinking of another story. So let me know your thoughts. And you guys, Ian, Alex Jones, companies aren't going to give, they keep increasing these prices. Look at a lot of the profit margins these companies are making. This is why we have a K-shaped economy. You have money in the stock market, right? If you're probably watching this channel, you're a homeowner, you're a realtor, you're in the mortgage business, you're probably okay. If you got money in the market, you're doing well. Last 2 years, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying this is what I'm trying to educate people on. If you had money in the market, even in the S&P 500, it's the top 500 companies in the country, you made 25% on your money in 2023, 2024, and I think 2025, something like that. It was an average of like 20% a year. So if you don't have money in the markets, you're missing out. Okay, that's why I want you to be independent. I've never taken an unemployment check in my whole life. My father is the same thing. That's how I was raised. He said, you know what? There's a lot of people out there less fortunate than us. And folks, my dad worked in the steel mills, and then in the evenings he did roofing and other jobs so we can put food on the table. So I didn't grow up wealthy, but he said to me, "You earn," and I'm a believer. So I follow that too. Reading the Bible. It says, you reap what you reward. So I'm not going to push that to you. But here's what the markets are doing. Let's get over to that. Okay, let's get the stock market. How's it doing? The market's up 78. It's not up 1,000. Okay, but it's not down 1,000. So the market's just looking at this saying, okay, we knew this was coming. What's next? What's next? So that's what I want to help prepare you guys for. So let's go through here. Like I said, I'm going to blog this thing to see if, go through here. It's going to give you some opinions on some different things. But, let's go down through here. I don't know if there's anything here that I really wanted to. Congress writes new laws. Let's go backwards. Most likely near-term outcomes. The White House is going to pivot. Nobody knows. Here's another thing you're going to get. They're going to just pound this thing on how you're going to refund the money. Okay, so let's go over to companies. Please give me a thumbs up. If you think companies are going to say, okay, we didn't have that tariff increase, or we don't have it now. It's going to be taken away, or we don't really know what it's going to do, but it'll probably come down. So now we can cut our prices. Okay. No, what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, people are going to demand higher wages because prices are high and everything else. So they're increasing their wages. The biggest culprit we have right now, if you really dive into inflation, is healthcare. My healthcare each month, I just renewed my wife and mine. It's $1,900 plus. It's like $2,000 a month for me and my wife. We're 60 years old. We're in good health. It's just the two of us. It's $2,000. Think net pay. That means I need to make $3,000 a month gross to pay that. That's $36,000. That's $40,000 a year just to pay my health insurance. It's crazy. Okay, so this is what's going on here. But let's get over to the other piece of the market that you're probably looking at. Okay, what news did we get in today other than this? Okay, we had some housing news. Okay, so let's dive down that a little bit. I'm going to go back to where this tariff thing is going to go and where I think rates are going to go, but we have to really understand these topics through here. So let's see what we got here. H. Smith. I'd love if you guys would ask some questions, because then I can just start. I got a bunch of screens up right now that we can go over if you got any questions out there. Unrelated to tariffs, but what is your expectations of what rates could go if something happens when Iran ran over the next few days? Nothing. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to see oil. Watch oil right now, and I can go over to the markets for you right now. I don't know what it's doing. I can guarantee you it's most likely up. Let me bring this on the board. And oil. No, it's down. That's crazy. But let's look at the chart of oil. What it's done. Let's just look at the last 5 days. Just there you go. Okay, that's the chart that we see. So we were at the beginning of the week. We're at what is it? 62. We're at 66, so a 10% rise in that just today or just this week. So you're going to see tensions in Iran. I don't think Iran. Let me know. Let's just be candid here. If you have minors watching, turn the channel or whatever. Iran's not going to do anything. What are we going to do? We're going to go over there, threaten the shit out of them. Everything's going to go. The news is going to get huge, takes on this. And then, the Iran came back and they came to their senses, and nothing's going to happen. So you're going to see oil prices come back down. But this tariff stuff, the unknown here is truly unknown, because now we were expecting the money. Here, let's go down this path. How does the government pay the debt that they have? They don't have jobs, right? They work for us. Okay, so the only way we can pay our bills is by taxing people, okay? There's a tax on real estate, and that's a huge concern of mine. I live in a state that the taxes are stupid. You're in New York, New Jersey, states like that. In New York, you're now going to get it as well. The taxes are great. My real estate taxes are probably twice, if you're watching this, probably twice what yours is. Why? Well, it's because of my state and things like that. And they pay for things I don't agree with, most of it, but there's nothing I can do. So, the tariff thing, it's just another piece of tax. So it's not tax on my home. Remember, the government makes money or gets money on taxes. If you're giving all this stuff away, and let's just look at economics 101, and I don't want to get political. If you're not earning your pay, like I said, I am proud to say I've never taken an unemployment check. I've been in dire needs of financial money at times,